Lee Summit is your destination for big city vibes and small town charm.
Head to the downtown Lee Summit Farmers Market, where local meets fresh. Then grab a cup of coffee and discover a variety of shops and boutiques just around the corner. Continue the fun in downtown Lee Summit at a retro arcade bar. Discover your new beer at one of our 6 locally owned breweries. Cool off with some handcrafted cocktails at happy hour. End the night with live music and good company. Lee Summit, Missouri.
Hello, Lee Summit. Here's your flash briefing for the week of November 6th. City Council meet for regular session Tuesday night at 6 in Council Chambers in City Hall. If you can't watch, quickly catch up on City Council meetings by subscribing to the Council Debrief newsletter, which breaks down 3 to 4 key agenda items. Subscribe at cityofls.net. The city is hosting an online comment period for the Ward and Purcell's Intersection Improvements Project. The public can view project plans, exhibits, and provide feedback through November 15th. Find a link to the project on our Facebook page. The City of Lee Summit is excited to launch LS Aware, a free alert system designed to keep residents and businesses informed of emergencies and certain non-emergency events. City can quickly send messages via phone, text, email, and more, depending on the preferences set up by the user. Learn more and sign up at lsaware.net. Calling all elves, the city's Cultural Arts Division is looking for volunteers to help spread some festive cheer downtown by decorating the planters. The decorations will be assembled at City Hall before placing them in the planters. Find a link to sign up on our Facebook page. And join in celebrating veterans on November 11th and honoring those who served during the Korean War. The parade will begin at noon at Lee Summit High School. Find more details about the event and parade route at downtownls.org. Thanks for listening and have a great week.
I'm Assistant Chief Jim Eden.
And I'm Battalion Chief Ben Hicks.
And today we're at Lee Summit Fire Station 3. Fire Station 3 was part of the 2016 no tax increase general obligation bond for public safety initiatives. The station was built and occupied in August of 2020. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we've not been able to give tours or have an actual ribbon cutting. So we want to invite you in today to give you the opportunity to see what goes on within a Lee Summit Fire Department station.
Let's go take a tour. This is our admin side of the facility. We use this side mainly for offices. We have a lot of work during the day, whether it's training or doing reports or just generally taking care of the shift that we need to do. At this particular station, Station 3, we do have an assistant chief that works out of here. That person has their own office where they need to manage what's going on throughout the day with the shift and staffing, and as well as running calls out of here. The captain has their own office as well. What the captain does is at this specific station is in charge of both the fire truck that's here as well as the ambulance. And so with all those personnel responsibilities as well as running calls and reports, that's where they work out of. And generally for the rest of the crew, which is somewhere around 5 to 6 individuals, we have rooms to write reports, and we have additional training rooms and other rooms where people can work. Walking into our living area, I think it's important to recognize that we work 48-hour shifts. So in the evenings, after 5 o'clock, after work is done, we may have the opportunity to catch a game or something else as long as we're not running calls. And this gives us the opportunity to do that. When we go into our kitchen, I think this gives you a great reason to know why we go to the grocery store. When you see fire trucks at the grocery store, what we're doing. Also, for 2 days working for 48 hours, we buy all our meals at the grocery store, and then we come in here and cook. Just like you guys do at home. So everybody has their own fridge on each shift as well as their own pantry, and then we cook those meals here. Going into the sleeping side of things, we've got a couple different things that are significant. We have our own laundry room, which again is important when we're here for 48 hours. The opportunity to wash and clean our clothes and bedding is very important for hygiene. And walking into where our beds are, we keep the kind of sleeping quarters over on one side of the building. It gives us both easy access out to where our fire apparatus are, as well as kind of keeping it a little bit quieter for those people that have been up all night running calls. We have 11 bedrooms here at this station, and the reason we built it with so many bedrooms is we want to give ourselves as a city the opportunity to expand. So if we need to put another apparatus here or numerous other people working at this station, that's already in place as far as infrastructure goes, and we don't need to go back and try to make it bigger or better, and that's really important for us, especially because the old station was so small. Back out on the apparatus floor, we have doors facilitated as many places as possible, so that way when we're sleeping at night and a call comes out, we can make our way out fairly quickly to get out onto the truck if we need to and run a call. On the other side of the station, we kind of have other stuff that we may want to keep separated if we want to. Physical fitness is very important to us as firefighters. So in order to better ourselves and make sure we're as healthy as we can to do this job, we have our own gym facility here that we kind of go throughout the day when we can and get an opportunity to come in and work out. Our goal when we run calls, when we get back to the station after calls, our goal is to get ready to go back as soon as we can to run another call. So we have the opportunity or capability here to fill up our air tanks. You can see firefighters wear the big air tanks on their backs and they use those in a fire. We can come back and fill those up and make sure that we're ready to go again when we're wanting to go run another call. We have our own workshop here. We work on a lot of our tools and making sure that everything's clean and operational, and this gives us the capability to do that, again, to make sure that we have everything we need and we're as capable as we can be running calls throughout the city. Cancer prevention is very important in the fire service right now. Because of that, we have an extractor machine, and what this does is gives us the capability when we come back from a fire, we can put our bunker gear into this machine and get all that really nasty crud off of our gear. Again, kind of getting back to that cancer prevention mode, allowing us to be as clean as we possibly can for the next call. And finally is our bunker gear room. We each have our own individual locker. This gives us the opportunity to store our gear when we're not here working in between shifts, as well as keep a clean extra set on here in case we do run a fire and we need to clean our current gear. Typically, this is where your day starts off at the fire station. You come in and get your gear and put it on wherever you're working that day, and then you end the same way, bring your stuff back to your locker to go home after working. This is Med 3. This ambulance just currently moved into the station from Station 7. Station 3, since we've had it built, has turned into one of our busiest stations in the city. Therefore, we wanted to provide the best care in the closest unit as we could. So we moved one of our ambulances up, and this became Med 3 for this particular instance. Out of this station, we also have Pumper 3. And that's a fire apparatus that they utilize to run the calls on this west end of the city. The last vehicle that you see is the chief's vehicle. We have 2 shift chiefs on shift every day, and they split the city. And this chief running out of this station typically covers the west and south area of the city, while our chief of Station 2 covers kind of that northeast section of our city, and they divide it up evenly.
Thank you for going on a tour with us today. If you have any other questions about the Lee Summit Fire Department, please go to our webpage at lsfire.net or follow us on Facebook at Lee Summit Fire Department.
Thanks for joining us on the tour.
This month's Council Member Spotlight is all about Mayor Bill Baird. Check it out.
I have always volunteered in the community and I was always really involved, but then I ran for school board. Whenever I got done with my term, I just felt like I had more to give. It's always been my goal from day one is to get everyone in the community connected and working together, and I always called it a spirit of community. Well, Mayor's 24/7 and I have a job. I've had to work really hard at compartmentalizing, is what I call it. So during this time, I'm going to do work. During this time, I'm going to be mayor, even though I can get a call at any moment about mayor stuff. And so I've had to even work that much harder at setting aside time for myself or for family. So I like to exercise, I like to work out. Hillary's my wife. She actually goes to work out with me as well. And we do like to go downtown to the shops. We make sure we maximize our time together. I mean, I've got 2 kids as well, and we spend a lot of time with them, or whatever time they will give us these days. And I have a dog. I think most people kind of know me know I have to have a dog. We have so much development going on, and we're growing fairly quickly, so we have a lot of infrastructure needs, and sometimes we have gaps in infrastructure, and we've always managed to get by, but with this kind of growth, we're really having to be creative and look at our options and just have a good plan for water, sewer, roads, and more. If we want to grow the most healthy way, we need a diverse economy. We do have a lot of retail that's opened up here, and there's been new construction for retail. We really need to focus in the future on bringing some, well-paying jobs here, good, strong employers that want to be located in this incredible community of now 101,000 people. A lot of our workforce does commute to work still, so they leave Lee Summit to go to work, and it'd be nice if we could keep some of those citizens right here in our community. The times I feel most proud are actually when I'm in the community and I see the community come together.
We have Buddy in the house. Mr. Mayor.
The tree lighting is always very fun. I always feel very proud. It's just a great warm feeling. The same thing goes for when the council will do something and we come together and make a good decision together. There's been a few of those that you go home feeling like a winner. And one of them was when we put together the downtown farmers market, when we bought the land, and it became real, all that hard work. But also the Diversity and Inclusion Commission, that was months and months of discussions and conversations that were really hard to have, and we went ahead and moved forward and as a council all together, and I was very, very proud of that. And there are a few things that the citizens have done that have really helped us tremendously. First, in the middle of a pandemic, they passed a use tax, which is a way for us to collect sales tax whenever someone purchases online. That helps shore up our revenues so that we can continue to provide as high quality services that our city provides. And it helps us take care of our employees, it helps us with our public safety and more. So I can't be more thankful to the citizens for that. Lee Summit has the opportunity to have a major impact on the economy in the Kansas City area. We already, as an economy, are rolling along with such a high median income. We have an amazing workforce here that are paying taxes, they're paying property taxes, they're paying sales taxes, they're keeping our economy rolling, and we really are getting the attention of all our neighbors. And I think that what's going to happen is you're going to see the opportunity for us to really get everybody's attention when businesses start moving here, bigger businesses and more so. You should try to find a way to give back to the community, whether it's at the city level, citizen committees, or just participating in some of our community conversations whenever we have those opportunities. It's worth coming out of your shell or taking that leap of faith and just showing up and saying, what can I do or how can I help? The more that we do this together, the more wonderful the community is.
Thanks for watching the Lee Summit Rundown. I'm Laura Ingeman. See you next time.
Calling to order this November 6th, 2023 meeting of the Finance and Budget Committee. Can we get a roll call, please?
Chairwoman Shields.
Present.
Councilmember Hodges.
Here.
Councilmember Lovell.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez.
I know he's on Zoom. Are we able to get him?
Coming back.
You guys hear me okay?
Oh, there you are.
All right, good deal.
Mayor Pro Tem, we were calling roll call. Can you say aye? Or yes. Here. Mayor Pro Tem.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, there we go. All right, first item of business is approval of the agenda.
Chair, I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Can we get a vote, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Lovell.
Aye.
Councilmember Hodges.
Aye.
Chairman Shields.
Aye. All right, next item is public comments. Do we have any public comments today?
Chair, I haven't received any public comments in advance, and I have no cards for today.
Before we dig into business, I just wanted to note for the record that I have a hard stop at 5 o'clock today, so if we go past that, Vice Chair Lovell will take over the chair's position. And then I also wanted to note that as a discussion topic possibly going forward, we wanted to talk about elected official salaries for the city. So in the next week or so, staff will send out some data that they've collected about other municipalities, and then we can decide if we want to make that a discussion topic at one of our next meetings. So just something to be on the lookout for the members of the committee. That said, let's go ahead and dig into business. First item is 2023-5938, approval of the October 2nd, 2023 action letter.
Chair, I move to advance to move to approve 2023-5938 approval of the October 2nd, 2023 Finance and Budget Committee action letter.
Second. Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve the action letter. Can we get a vote, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hodges.
Aye.
Councilmember Lovell.
Aye.
Chair Shields.
Aye. All right, that is approved. Next item is TMP-2813, an ordinance approving a public service agreement for enhanced public area maintenance services, including but not limited to litter control, weed abatement, sidewalk cleaning by and between downtown Lee Summit Community Improvement District and the city of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Good afternoon, Brian Page, Facilities Manager. This is the same contract that we've had in place that helps take care of the downtown area with a member of our CBS staff, Central Building Services, and so we just ran out of automatic one-year renewals, and so this is just the brand-new agreement. Everything's exactly the same, couple of changes to the task matrix, but other than that, it's exactly the same as what it was.
Thank you. And to make sure that we're all on the same page, this is sort of our, we call it like the reverse PSA. This is where instead of us paying another organization to do some services for the city, the CID pays us for city staff time to do some of this maintenance, trash pickup and things downtown. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have the public service agreement, the PSA agreement, and then we have the enhanced services. This is the enhanced services,
Gotcha.
which is the downtown maintenance.
Okay. Do you have any questions from the committee? Seeing none, I would look for motion.
Chair,
Yes.
I move to recommend to City Council approval of agenda item number TMP-2813, an ordinance approving a public service agreement for enhanced public area maintenance services, including but not limited to litter control, weed abatement, sidewalk cleaning by and between the downtown Lee Summit Community Improvement District and the city of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to move TMP-2813 to council with recommendation of approval. Can we get a vote, please?
Councilmember Lovell.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez. Councilmember Hodges.
Aye.
Chair Shields.
Aye. Next item, TMP-2828, an ordinance approving amendment number 5 to the budget for fiscal year ending June 30, 2024, as adopted by ordinance number 9704, ordinance number 9705, ordinance number 9706, ordinance number 9707, and ordinance number 9708 by amending the authorized expenditures and amending the pay and classification plan for the city. Mr. Gentry?
Thank you, Chair. Rick Gentry, Budget Manager. That item before you this afternoon is Budget Amendment Number 5 to the current FY24 fiscal year budget. We have a few items in the budget this evening, or the amended this evening. The first one is adding an authorized expenditure to the budget for the fleet department. This was an oversight. This is a kind of a cleanup item. The money was budgeted originally and approved as part of the public safety sales tax, and they transferred the money from the sales tax to the fleet fund. However, we did not budget for that expenditure. So this is adding that expenditure authorization to the fleet fund for the purchase of the fire rescue boat. The next few items will be in regards to personnel and the pay and class plan. First one is a combining of the engineering technician and senior engineering technician positions to one line on the FTE count sheet for the Public Works Department. We've done this with several positions across the city where you have positions that's at entry level and a step up above, and that just kind of allows the departments a little more flexibility as employees earn the promotions to move up, and then as they hire and someone leaves, they can hire staff at a higher level as they find qualified candidates. Any fiscal impact on this will be covered by current year vacancy savings. The next one is the addition of a senior compensation and classification analyst position to the pay and class plan for our human resources, and adding that to the compensation and classification specialist line on the FTE sheet. Again, this will allow for flexibility in hiring, professional growth, and promotion of staff within the city. No anticipated impact at this time, but they do have some savings and vacancy savings if they do have fill or promotion during the year. It is not a new FTE, it's just staying within the number that they have at this time. Within the finance department, as part of the change and expansion, position was approved last year was a payroll administrator. And reflection and looking to meet the needs of the department and moving forward with the new implementation of the new ERP system, reviewed that position and would like to change that position from a payroll administrator position to a payroll supervisor position. This position will have additional duties and responsibilities as well as supervising the payroll department. I'll provide flexibility in finding qualified candidates for this position. Any physical impact on the FY24 budget will be covered by the vacancy savings, as this is an open position currently. On the Water Utilities Department, they added a position a couple of years ago of a water utility analyst position. It's a software support position. I'd like to change it to an application analyst position, the job title, because of the job duties and responsibilities of the position more aligned with the application analyst position that is currently on the pay and class plan. So they'd like to change that title of that position for that employee to that title. There will be some physical impact because the position does at a higher pay band and puts them in line with other people doing the same responsibilities and across the organization as application analyst in the city. And then the last one is a change for a position that was approved as an expansion position for the ITS department. They had a support system specialist position approved as part of the expansion request for the FY24 budget. And if they've got the job description finalized, this is going more specific to audiovisual. So to support the audiovisual services throughout the conference rooms, council chambers, obviously, and throughout the city. So the job description is very specific to those skills and responsibilities. So they'd like to make that one change. The position, there's no fiscal impact as the pay position will be in the same band as the support system specialist. Any questions?
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the committee? Mayor Pro Tem, any questions for you?
Nope, none at this point.
All right. Hearing none, I would look for motion.
Chair? I move to recommend to City Council approval of agenda item TMP-2828, an ordinance approving amendment number 5 to the budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024, as adopted by ordinance number 9704, ordinance number 9705, ordinance number 9706, ordinance number 9707, and ordinance number 9708 by amending the authorized expenditures and amending the pay and classification plan for the city.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to move TMP 2828 to council with a recommendation of approval. Can we get a vote, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez,
Aye.
Councilmember Lovell,
Aye.
Councilmember Hodges,
Aye.
Chair Shields.
Aye. Passes. Next item, TMP 2832, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 9727 and approving the award of RFP 2023-050 for emergency dispatch software in the amount of $179,557 to the Medical Priority Consultants, Inc., DBA Priority Dispatch Corp., and ratifying the city manager's execution of the same for all related necessary documents. Deputy Chief Osterman.
Thank you, Chair. Brian Osterman, Deputy Fire Chief. So as you remember, you probably saw this, I think it was back in September, we brought this to you. You're seeing it again because I made an error in process and brought it to you before the documents were perfected. So after your approval and the bill was created, this one will serve to replace that original bill and replace it with this one with the perfected documents this time. So my apologies for that. No scope or financials have changed. It's the same scope, same agreement, just with the perfected documents this time.
Any questions from the committee? Pretty straightforward. Hearing none, I would look for motion.
Chair. I move to recommend to City Council approval of agenda item number TMP-2832, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 9727 and approving the award of RFP 2023-050 for emergency dispatch software in the amount of $179,557 to Medical Priority Consultants, Inc., DBA Priority Dispatch Corp., and ratifying the city manager's execution of the same for all related and necessary documents.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to move TMP 2832 to council with recommendation of approval. Can we get a vote, please?
Councilmember Hodges,
Aye.
Councilmember Lovell,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez,
Aye.
Chair Shields.
Aye. All right. Next item, TMP 2840, an ordinance approving the use of an agreement between the City of Lee Summit and Key Equipment and Supply Company and utilizing a Sourcewell Cooperative contract to purchase Eagle Waterless Street Sweeper and authorize the city manager to execute the same for the city.
Good afternoon, Mark Stinson, Fleet Manager. This request is for the approval of contract number 2024-037 with Key Equipment. We utilized Sourcewell Cooperative bids to get the cost for the replacement of this unit. It is a new Eagle Waterless Sweeper replacing our current unit that was budgeted in the Fiscal Year 2024 budget and life cycled out through the VERT program. So, any questions?
Questions from the committee? Quiet afternoon. Seeing, appreciate it. Seeing none, I would look for motion.
Chair? I move to recommend to City Council approval of agenda item TMP-2840, an ordinance approving the use of an agreement between the City of Lee Summit and Key Equipment and Supply Company and utilizing a Sourcewell Cooperative contract to purchase an Eagle Waterless Street Sweeper and authorizing the city manager to execute the same for the city.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to move TMP 2840 to council with recommendation of approval. Can we get a vote, please?
Councilmember Lovell,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez,
Aye.
Councilmember Hodges,
Aye.
Chair Shields.
Next item is TMP 2830, an ordinance approving the award of RFP number 2024-028 for a yearly agreement with 4 possible one-year renewals for aviation fuel services for Lee Summit Municipal Airport to AVFUEL Corporation and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Good evening, Joel Arrington, Airport Manager. So this RFP is for aviation fuel services for the airport, and kind of in short what that means is we have need to have a branded fuel supplier out there. So we put together this RFP. In addition to supplying fuel, our aviation fuel supplier also assists us in marketing and advertising across the United States. The services that we offer at the airport. Additionally, they, as part of this contract, they would provide us fuel trucks, testing equipment, those types of items. This is basically before you today because we're out of renewals with them, and AVFUEL has been with was the previous supplier. The RFP was put out. We sent it out to 62 different vendors across the country. We got 4 proposals back, and we put together a committee to rank those, at least on the initial proposals. And after we went through that process, we interviewed the top 2 firms out of those 4. Based on the composite scores, AVFUEL scored the highest. This particular agreement contains several cost cutting. I think the market is getting a little bit tighter, a little bit more competitive, which helps us in the end. Helps everybody sharpen their pencil just a little bit. And some of those major points are the no cost on the refuelers and the maintenance for those trucks, which right now is around $40,000 to $45,000 a year that we spend to lease those trucks and to maintain them. And the agreement with AVFUEL, they'll be those trucks will be at no cost to us, which is a good thing. One of the unique situations the airport is in as we're continuing to improve our services is the need to rebrand the airport at some point in time, and AVFUEL is offered to provide the services to us at no cost versus us having to go out to a third-party vendor and pay for that service. So they'll be taking care of that. And they're going to have a no-cost marketing plan for us. So lots of good stuff in this particular agreement. And with that, staff recommends the approval of this RFP to AVFUEL. Questions?
Do you have any questions from the committee?
Just out of curiosity, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Arrington, I know we've seen a lot more activity at the Lee Summit Airport the last couple of years. Has the fuel usage and sales, obviously, has that been reflected in the sales of fuel?
Yeah, so we'll go back about 5 years, and a pretty typical year for us was around 60,000 gallons of Jet A that we would sell on an annual basis. This year, we're planning to do a little over 300,000. So, yeah, and that's just a combination of new services that we've put out at the airport, more based jets at the airport, flying more frequently. So it's just a combination of a lot of different things.
Right.
And
has
with
Taylor Swift used some of that fuel? Just
I'm sorry?
Never mind.
Yeah, right, yes. Yeah, right. Yeah, go Chiefs. That's all I can say.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. One of these days we will get an answer on that. But do we have any other questions? All right, hearing none, I would look for a motion, please.
Chair?
Yes.
I move to recommend to City Council approval of agenda item TMP-2830, an ordinance approving the award of RFP number 2024-028 for a yearly agreement with 4 possible 1-year renewals for aviation fuel services for Lee Summit Municipal Airport to AVFUEL Corporation, and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to move TMP-2830 to council with recommendation of approval. Can we get a vote, please?
Chair, could they clarify who was seconding it?
Give it to Mayor Pro Tem.
All right. Councilor Lovell?
I couldn't hear that. Can you repeat that?
Mayor Pro Tem, you seconded it.
Yes.
Okay. Councilor Lovell?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez?
Aye.
Councilor Hodges?
Aye.
Chair Shields?
Aye. All right. Last item on business agenda is 2023-5942, a presentation regarding the first quarter general fund budget update.
Good afternoon, Eric Stoyanov, Budget Manager. So having finished the first quarter, we just wanted to give a brief update on where things stand with the general fund and then also the public safety sales tax. Since that's a relatively new one, we wanted to give an update on that. So we'll start with sales tax. The top box is actuals to actuals, first quarter of last year to first quarter of this year, just for comparison purposes. The right two columns, percentage change and dollar change, and then the bottom is the actuals to budget. As you can see, year over year, sales tax is up slightly. Compared to budget, it's down from where we expected it to be at this time. But our use tax is more than making up for it currently. Use tax has really exploded in the first 3 months of the year, 43% up year over year, 58% over budget. So right now we're looking really good, just under 6% compared to budget for the first quarter. And actually before I came down here, looked up November. November also up 20% to budget and 14 on use tax compared to the budget. So we're seeing pretty good growth in use tax. Would like our sales tax to pick up a little bit, but so far, so good. Then just a quick visual of it. First quarter of 23 is that kind of middle green box, and then turquoise is the middle, and then the light blue is the budget amount. On our franchise, again, same format as before. Natural gas, we're seeing a little bit of a decline compared to budget, but again, natural gas really picks up in the winter months. So once we hit November, December, January, February is when we start seeing that tick up. Telephone and cable are interesting. They're down year over year, but we predicted it to be a steeper decline than what it actually has been. So if you compare it to where the budgeted amounts are, we're actually up a little bit on those two categories. And then electric, both year over year and year to budget, down just slightly. So franchise, just a little bit down through the first quarter. Visual where things stand. Another big category for us is motor vehicle. So in fuel tax jumped again 12% at the beginning, July 1st of the year. I think it's 22 cents a gallon to 24.5 cents a gallon. And so that's really helping see an increase in what we're collecting on the fuel tax side of things. Sales tax, this one's a little weird. We just had a really down first quarter last year, so it looks nice if you look year over year, but year to budget, we're about flat. And then the license is down slightly, but again, as a category, we're seeing really strong numbers, mainly pulled up by that fuel tax amount. So 12% up compared to where we budgeted. And then here's our total revenue. So this will be the year over year comparison, and then I'll show the year to budget next slide. Fines and forfeitures, so that includes things like court fines, probation fees, things of that nature. Overall in that category, we're really up year over year. Licenses and permits, that's things like occupation licenses, right-of-way fees, grading permits, codes inspection fees, things of that nature. Again, we're seeing really strong codes inspection fees. This category, if you look deeper into it, it's a little bit up and down, but overall, up 16%. Intergovernmental's one, that's where we put our grants. So anything we get like DARE grants, it's also where our school resource officer revenue comes in. But right now, it's showing a negative amount. That's just the accrual from our audit going on right now. So if you actually just fast forward 1 month and include November, that negative 40,000 is actually positive 200. It's just that grants come in very sporadically. It's not an even amount of grants coming in throughout the year. Charges for service, so this is where things such as ambulance fees are at, our EMS dispatch contracts. Ambulance fees are down slightly to start the year, which is the reason why this category is down just a little bit. City logo sales, this one could probably be rolled up into a different category since it's so small, but these are some of those resale items at the marketplace right outside in Treasury. So kind of a small category. It's weird that it's separated out, but something we may look at. Investment earnings, that we've just been helped because at this time last year, rates were rising dramatically. We were getting hit really hard on mark-to-market, and so now mark-to-market's improved for us, and we're also earning good interest. The other category, so the biggest thing in the other category is capital project reimbursement. So when our staff work on capital projects, we get reimbursed for that amount. Right now, we just have an estimate in there. A few things need to be tweaked, so that numbers for the actual is likely to increase just slightly, but that's the largest item in there. Bond proceeds premiums, we just haven't issued anything at this point. And then transfers in, that's the G&A that we charge for business and industry fund and then water utilities. So again, year over year, we're up just slightly. This is the year to budget. And so when you look at what we budgeted for this time, we're up to about 2.5%, 400,000 on the revenue side. Any questions on the revenue side before I jump into expenses?
Questions from the committee? Go ahead.
On the general fund expense side, basically everything is pretty well in line with what we expected. Nothing stood out when we went department by department. We have seen some price increases on certain items and services to this point. Most of those have been able to be covered by vacancy savings within the departments when we do see some item in particular that maybe is a little bit more expensive at this time than we expected it to be. The interdepartment charges, that one, that's where like our equipment replacement funds live. And also our overhead for CBS, fleet, and ITS. So for that one, we've made our ERP payments in full so far, but the other ones for overhead, we do those on a monthly basis. So that will continue to tick up on the actuals. But overall, nothing too exciting on expense-wise, nothing that stands out as something we need to look into too bad. And then this is just a quick snapshot of first quarter of 23 versus first quarter of 24 for actuals. And then public safety sales tax, as I mentioned, this one's kind of an offshoot of the general fund, and it's also a new fund, so we wanted to highlight it a bit. Kind of seeing the same thing with the sales tax as we did with the general fund. Sales tax is down just slightly, but our use tax is up considerably, so up 4% compared to what we budgeted. Obviously, this is the first year, so we don't have anything to compare to year over year at this point. And similar story on their expenditures as with general fund. We know they've had some hiring difficulties, so personnel's up a little bit compared to where we would expect it, but things are pretty well in line on the expense side. On public safety sales tax, nothing stands out as anything to be alarmed or concerned about that we need to dive too deeply into. So I'll end with some of the key takeaways. Sales and use tax right now outperforming the budget by just under 6%. Motor vehicle outperforming the budget by 12%, which is really nice. So total revenue right now for the first quarter is up 2.5%, which is good. And expenditures are in line with expectations. We do have some things on our radar just as we continue the rest of this year. Student loans obviously resumed last month, and I know a lot of people expect that to start hitting, especially with sales tax, and dampen demand a little bit. So we're going to keep a look on that. We're about a 2-month lag on sales tax typically, so we'll start seeing the impact of October in December and January roughly. Motor vehicle sales tax is another one we're keeping an eye on so far. It's been fine, and demand hasn't dampened at all, but given the high rates where everything is right now, it's just something we want to keep an eye on. Also, the 3% non-medical marijuana tax that took effect in October, so again, we'll see it in December, which looked at our dispensaries, they've been performing pretty well, so that could be a decent bump for us. And then the Google local access fee. If you're a Google Fiber, you've likely seen that 1% hit, your bills increased. So that, even though you would think it would almost replace cable, it's actually going to appear in our licenses and fees category, so it's not going to be in that franchise tax because it's not a tax, it's just a fee. But that went into effect in August. We're expecting our first payment for that in November. It's going to be a quarterly payment. So right now we don't know what that looks like, but by mid-year we'll have a good idea of kind of what to expect with that moving forward. But that's something we didn't budget for at all on the revenue side, so it'll just be kind of extra for us. So it's nice. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the committee?
I got a couple. If you could just go back to that first slide on the expenditures. So just as I look at it, percent of budget remaining, if I see anything less than 75% considering the first quarter, then it draws my eyes to it. And like interdepartment charges, so it's like 46, we're we put 46%. Are you saying that's because most of those expenses are front-loaded and they taper off towards the end of the year? So like any of these ones where we've exhausted most of that money likely wouldn't, those aren't to continue at that rate, I guess is what I'm asking. Like interdepartment charges specifically, just looking at that one.
Correct. So all of like the ERP payments, so like our vehicle replacement, software replacement, anything like that, we just made a lump sum at the beginning of the year. And then the remainder of that is the overhead cost for ITS and fleet. Those ones will be made on a monthly basis, but we won't exceed that budgeted amount. It'll just kind of keep ticking up. The capital outlay is another one that's obviously 40%. That comprises of just 2 items. It's 2 leases for the fire department. One lease has been spent already. One lease is remaining. So that's another one. So it's not, in transfers out, it's kind of a similar story. So the other ones, miscellaneous up, are the ones that are kind of those operating ones that we'll keep a track.
So in your assessment and going through that, nothing really jumped off other than maybe lower sales tax revenue on vehicles, things like that. So
Yeah.
in pretty good shape in general.
Yeah, it was a good first quarter in general. We never want to get too excited with just 3 months in, so it's still a long way to go, but it's always nice to be on the positive side to start out.
Right. Thanks, Chair.
Questions?
More of a comment, Madam Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think along those lines, and that question, I think one positive note is that it's good to see the consistent sales tax revenue that, as a city we're known for. It's been pretty darn consistent for probably a little over 5 years, and even longer probably. And I think that just bodes well for our community that, it shows the, supporting local, which Lee Summit is kind of a big characteristic of our community, that, that trend continues. And we like the presenter said, I mean, we're not even ready right before the holidays. We got the holiday period coming. So, I mean, I think that bodes well for our community that the trends look good, just being that it's 1 quarter snapshot. So that's it. Thank you.
So it seemed like just some things are up, some things are down. So do you see mostly just kind of statistical noise and what's coming a little bit higher, a little bit lower? Or it sounds like there's nothing that really concerns you or that you think is going to be a big trend for the year?
Yeah, on the expense side, nothing concerned us. I know like Josh Johnson in development would be able to probably speak to the activity they've seen, because it's mainly, I feel like the one category that was really kind of up and down was that licenses and permits, which a lot of that is in development services fees. And it was just, I don't know, and it can change rapidly from talking with Josh. Like if one project comes online, suddenly those negative numbers can shoot upwards. And so he may have more information on that end, but everything else looked pretty good in our eyes. And franchise is looking pretty stable. Sales tax is the only thing, just because you just never know. It could always turn in an instant, but we've been pretty happy with how use tax at least has been showing up for us.
Okay. I appreciate the presentation. Thanks for the updates. For our business agenda, so the last item is Roundtable. Do we have any Roundtable from the committee members? So easy day. Any staff Roundtable?
No, not today. We'll make sure we get that information out to the committee, though.
Get it. All right, then. We are awesome today. Let us adjourn this at 4:37 p.m.
Thank you all.